So Dragon Ball Super is officially over, and with Dragon Ball Super being officially over, Dragon Ball itself actually has nothing going on in it right now. The DBS manga seems like it's going to be put on hiatus as Toyotaro is set to make a new original manga. He will talk about this project with Dragon Ball's editor at this panel, and there'll be more about it. But overall, Toyotaro is clearly not doing the DBS manga anymore. It's been on hiatus for months, maybe even a damn year now at this point. The last thing we got was Beast Gohan vs Ultra Instinct Goku. They never beat Black Frieza. They never resolved any of those like other character arcs. We never got to find out who's the strongest between Gohan, Goku, Broly, Orange Piccolo, and Ultra Ego Vegeta. It's just done. Dragon Ball Super has been on hiatus forever, but now we just hear that Toyotaro like, hey, I'm just gonna work on something else now. And he probably got approval by everyone else in the Dragon Ball staff because they were like, yeah, there's not really a lot we can do with Dragon Ball anymore, so let's just leave it for now. And I think that is absolutely shocking because we are entering a new dark age of Dragon Ball. We haven't seen one this legendary since Dragon Ball GT ended, where we're gonna get nothing for who knows how many years. How fitting that Super Saiyan 4 would bring the first Dark Age of Dragon Ball and Super Saiyan 4 Daima would bring the second Dark Age of Dragon Ball, because this has happened twice back to back now. Hello everyone, it's me, it's Steve Doja here, back some more Dragon Ball news in general. And yeah, Toyotaro is working on his first ever original manga project. This is obviously not like an original story. They're not saying original story or anything. They mean original manga project. Keep in mind, it was like halfway through the Granola arc or the Moro arc. I think it was established that Toyotaro was now going to be doing a story on his own. He wasn't taking directions from Toriyama anymore, right? So, you know, he wasn't taking notes or lessons from Toriyama anymore, and he made his original arcs. But now that Toriyama is sadly gone, it doesn't seem like he has any obligation to continue working on the series. I'm not saying that he's disrespecting Toriyama or anything, but without Toriyama's guidance, it seems like making Dragon Ball stuff in general is going to be very hard, not only for Toyotaro, but for Toei Animation themselves. Keep in mind, even though DBS is mostly original, they still asked Toriyama for a lot of help when it came to character designs, plot points, story relevances, etc, right? They asked for a lot of help from Toriyama. Same with the movies too. DBS Broly's design only happens because of Toriyama. The whole plot for Superhero is Toriyama's idea. They only added Gohan in later to obviously make it sell more. Toriyama's involvement in Daima is so absurdly like crucial. Daima would have just like it wouldn't even exist. We wouldn't have a new Super Saiyan 4 if Toriyama wasn't like bored as hell one day and was like, hey, let's tell a story about Goku being a kid again. Oh, you mean like GT? Oh yes, exactly like GT. You know, put Super Saiyan 4 in it as well. That was a good idea. You know, we only got all of these because of Toriyama, but now that sadly he's not with us anymore, it seems like there is no obligation to actually keep making Dragon Ball stuff, since one, they lost the guy who really steers the ship, and without a guy to steer the ship, you're just going to be lost at the sea. They don't want to see Dragon Ball 4 Law be in a worse position. Keep in mind, Sparking Zero released, and it's not looking good for Sparking Zero, right? It's not looking good for Sparking Zero. Xenoverse 2 is going to run out of DLC. Fighters just got buried because the new Marvel Axis game came out, meaning there's no way that they're sparing any more time to work on Fighters. Kakarot is going to get all of its DLC very soon when we get the last two parts of the Daima DLC, etc, right? Dragon Ball content in general is coming to a big standstill. The next thing we'll have to wait for, legitimately, is going to have to be like, I would say a new movie, but by the time a new movie comes out, every other Dragon Ball thing will be finished. We'd have all the DLC for Sparking Zero. We'd have all the DLC for Xenoverse. We'd have all the DLC for Kakarot. There's no new manga stuff going on. It would literally just be a new movie. Like, that's it. Like, let's say they turn around and they go, oh, let's make Dragon Ball Super cooler. As cool as that would be, right? He would just end up being, what, a summonable unit in Dokkan and Legends, paid DLC character in Xenoverse 2 and Sparking Zero. And then that's it. Kakarot's not going to do it because it's DBS content. Kakarot only does DBZ content and Daima. So it's not looking good for Dragon Ball right now. Dragon Ball's actually, it's entering the second Dark Age. Like I said, we got the first one when GT ended, and there was no new anime, there was no new movies for ages. There was we were getting games, sure. That's when the gaming part of Dragon Ball was like OP as hell though. Now we're not, as strong when it comes to the gaming front. Our games do make way more money now, that's for sure, right? They do make way more money now. Games are more accessible. But overall, when it comes to player enjoyment and how much people actually talk about these games, very little compared to what was happening during the Budokai, Tenkaichi days, etc, etc. So I think we are entering the second Dark Age. Now, I don't think it will last as long as the first one. The first one is kind of hellishly long. That one went on from what? That one went on from like 2000s to 2015 when we got DBS. Like, holy crap, man. The only content we had since that point was like Super Dragon Ball Heroes, I think. Like, damn. There was really nothing going on. We're going to go back to that period. We're going back to a period of nothing but Super Dragon Ball Heroes. And maybe like a few what if like transformations. Maybe we'll get like Super Saiyan 3 Goten in a game because they need to sell units. They need to sell characters. Remember when we got SSJ3 Vegeta and Broly in Raging Blast just because there was no new Dragon Ball content? It seems like we're entering another period where they're just gonna have to start making stuff up. Otherwise, they're not gonna have anything to actually put in the games. We even have more stuff here. His first project for an original manga means a manga which isn't related to Dragon Ball. DBS even without Toriyama isn't an original manga. Torishima cannot edit comments, new Dragon Ball stuff anyways. If it is Dragon Ball related, it's not his first project. That'd be AF or Victory Mission. Yeah, so Toyotaro is in a wee bit of a pickle here. Well, not Toyotaro. We're in a little bit of a pickle here. Toyotaro is probably moving on to greener pastures, which I don't blame them for telling him to do. Even the DBS manga, when you check the manga sales, it doesn't do that well. Keep in mind, it's Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball always does absurdly well. So the fact that the DBS manga falls so far behind, I'm not saying the DBS manga needs to like beat One Piece or Jujutsu Kaisen or My Hero, but you think it's weird that it wouldn't beat at least one of those three, right? Bruh, even Kaiju 8 is beating DBS. No, that thing ends in 2 chapters as well. What the hell? Yeah, okay, so here we go. Top 50 selling manga of 2024. I do believe this is when the DBS manga actually ended. It was like early 2024. We know it's... Okay, let's just scroll past, right? DBS is in 45th position. Solo Leveling was beating DBS in 2024. Nah, there's no way. There's no way. So, I don't remember if this is like... I don't remember how many DBS volumes released during this period. During this like time period. Because obviously that indicates... how much, went on. Like, maybe 2023 would be more accurate because, it ended in 2024. So maybe they only released, like, 2 volumes or something, right? Okay, so let's see. DBS manga ranked 37th best-selling in 2023. So the DBS manga hasn't been doing too crazy for a bit. All the big shots were up here. And DBS manga, yeah, behind Dress Up Darling. Good lord. Oh, my goodness. All right, so that's not the most fortunate position to be in. I'm pretty sure 2023 would have still been the same year. 2023 might have been when they were recapping the superhero arc. See, I don't know. The decisions behind the DBS manga are so weird that I actually cannot blame them for saying, you know what, let's just stop. We don't know what we're doing, obviously. Let's just give it up. And you got people posting the Black Ops scene. Oh my god, man. Yeah, I want to assume that they'll definitely continue DBS in some way, but I do want to remind you guys, the literal last panel or page of the DBS manga is like a big farewell panel of all the characters flying away and waving towards the camera. Even ends with Toriyama's favorite character, Piccolo, like looking back and like waving as like one of the last few things. Not Goku, Piccolo, which is very interesting. I mean, again, he's Toriyama's favorite, so if the last panel is going to be a tribute to the guy who created Dragon Ball, it should at least be his favorite character, who sends the audience off with a big farewell. Very shocking to still know that, yeah, so hold on. Let's just list off with what's going on with Dragon Ball right now. So we got no anime right now because Daima just finished, so there's no way there's no way they're making another anime. And not only that, Daima looked too good to even say that they were making a movie in the background. There's no way. It's not like with DBS where most of DBS animation is bad. So when they immediately announced Dragon Ball Super Broly, you're like, yeah, that makes sense because the animation work for DBS wasn't up to par. They were obviously working on something else in the background. Daima's animation is too good. They're not working on anything else in the background. So no anime, no manga now because Toyotaro is making his, first ever original manga project. Sparking Zero just released, so there's no new giant console games on the horizon. There's no Xenoverse 3 on the horizon, no Fighters 2, no Kakarot 2 that will cover the events of DBS. The only thing we have looking forward to us is Gekishin Squadra, which I think I'm going to enjoy. I think it's going to be a very good game, but that's not a big appealing Dragon Ball game. It's like a MOBA. It's like a League of Legends for Dragon Ball. I think it'll be fun. I really hope the game does well because, I think I played the first beta. It was great. The game looks great. The gameplay is fun. It actually takes the character's unique abilities into account as a Dragon Ball game, which is very rare, and I love that. So I'm waiting for that game. But let's be real. That's no Sparking Zero. That's no Xenoverse 2. That's no Fighters. That's no Kakarot. I have a very, very low expectation for mainstream Dragon Ball fans and gamers to actually want to try Gekishin Squadra. So basically no big console games, no big anime, no manga, no movie. What do we have to look forward for as Dragon Ball fans? I guess new toys? But surely they've already released like SH Figuarts, Beast Gohan, and Orange Piccolo. So what else are you gonna buy, I guess it's SH Figuarts like Super Saiyan 4 Adult Daima Goku. That's probably it. So we're looking forward to to a single Daima Goku figure in Super Saiyan 4, maybe. And then like we're actually done with all the Dragon Ball content that's like going on right now. That is actually shocking, man. That's actually shocking. And again, I don't blame them. Dragon Ball's kind of in a really weird position when it comes to stuff. Daima isn't even like I'm not saying Daima's not canon, right? But it has this weird timeline continuity thing where you just have to accept Daima isn't part of the same timeline as Super. But the issue is that people like coherent stories, people like cohesive stories, people like stories that have everything involved in the same like universe, right? It makes stories way easier to understand. It makes them way more appealing, makes them less confusing. That's why comics usually bother people so much, because when you say Superman can beat Goku, which Superman? Which Superman are we talking about? There's like 800. So it's like, it's, you know, people like things being coherent and cohesive. So splitting off Daima into a separate timeline is kind of just weird. At the same time, though, trying to incorporate Daima stuff into DBS would be very hard. And I think it makes Dragon Ball's universe just really hard to write, because now you have a bunch of stuff that you can't use. You just made new stuff that you can never use ever for no reason. I actually can't believe the DBS manga is actually going to end with Black Frieza being like the strongest mortal by far. Again, I don't know if he's supposed to be stronger than Beerus or not, because Beerus gets glazed even crazier in the manga. But Frieza's the strongest mortal straight up, and at any point he can just run the fade with Goku and rest and just kill them, but he just hasn't done that because the manga hasn't continued. So that's just very interesting. That's just funny, right? It's just funny that that's the way the manga ends with Broly having controlled Super Saiyan, Beast Gohan is stronger than UI Goku, everyone has their farewells, and Frieza can just run their pockets at any point when he gets bored. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the DBS manga, but I don't like this. It's not really an ending per se. When we got the farewell panel, we thought that was more so a farewell to the creator, because Toriyama had passed, I believe, at the time of the farewell panel. But now it's like now I don't even know. You know, I guess that has to be the farewell for the whole manga, because we haven't got anything since then. And we're not going to get anything since, likely. There's no way they've messed up the wording so bad, by the way, that when they say new project, it's not just a new story arc, because you just announce a new story arc, that's it. You don't say, oh, it's a new original project. This isn't Project Z or Project Multi, okay? We know it's Dragon Ball, but in Toyotaro's case, there's no Dragon Ball Project T for Toyotaro, right? It's just over. So I think that's probably a great place to end the video. I'm not sure what else I could say about the states of Dragon Ball right now, other than it's looking bleak. It's looking bleak. No games, no movies, no anime, no manga. Nathan. All we have to do is wait for Sparking Joe's one last disappointing DLC to come out, Xenoverse's last 2 DLCs to come out, Kakarot's last 2 DLCs to come out, and then that's it. We're done with Dragon Ball content like forever. This is gonna be a tough time. Soldiers, I need you guys to grit your teeth and bear with me. I need you guys to wear your armor and bear with me. We are going through a dark tide right now, but you have to stay strong, for there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We will be getting Dragon Ball Ultra in about 10 years from now. We will be getting Dragon Ball Super Duper in about 15 years from now. We will be watching Dragon Ball Mega in 30 years with our children. Can I get an amen in the comments? And that is a good place to end the video. I do love you all. I hope you all enjoyed. And I think that we're just going to have to wait. Do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the Greatest Worlds channel. And leave a comment down below of what you'd like to see next. And that'll be it. I do love you all. I hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you all next time. Take care and peace.